What's going on, Tevin? See here, and I know I say this a lot, but I didn't really plan on doing a video on DSP's Nintendo E3 shenanigans. And yesterday, if you don't know, I'm sure you do know, but Nintendo took a huge loss when Mr. Satoru Iwata died. So, I mean, I'm not much of a, YouTube eulogy type person. I like to try to not do things of that nature. It's a super personal thing, and I don't really like to talk about. I don't even feel like trying to explain it. Anyway, as you see, I'm wearing my Nintendo shirt. My Club Nintendo shirt is pretty much the only video game shirt I own. So I decided I would wear it for this, because why not? And this person that we're about to listen to, if you don't know, is Mr. Darksidefield, DSP. He fucking hates Nintendo, and he always says he's a big fan of Nintendo, but then he says he's a big fan of the old Nintendo, and it's just a bunch of nonsense. And to be honest, it's kind of a running joke between people that don't like him but know of him to say they're a big fan of something when they might not be a big fan of it. But anyway, before we get this show on the road, we're going to have a legit moment of silence for Mr. Iwata. I think at the end of this video, I'm going to give my thoughts on him and on DSP's little opinion of him. And I think we'll just let it ride out with that. I might put some clips in. No, I'm not going to do that. Fuck that. I'm not going to put in clips of DSP shitting on him. If you want to see clips of him shitting on Nintendo and shitting on Iwata and other people, and just Nintendo in general, check the description. But I'm not going to put that nonsense. I'm not going to attach it to this video and make it a part of this video. I'm not going to have stuff defaming them. I don't even know if that's the right word, but you get what I mean. I'm not going to put stuff in this video to make him look bad, even if it's some jackass that doesn't know what he's talking about saying it. Anyway, with all of that foolishness being said, let's get this show on the road.
All right, hello everyone.
There we go.
And welcome. This is my Nintendo press conference, digital conference, whatever you want to call it, for E3 2015 recap and reactions video. So I thank you for watching, whether you were live on stream or you were watching this on demand on my YouTube channel, DSP Gaming.
I don't know if it really started or not. There we go.
My recap and reactions to Nintendo.
Oh boy, I'm already ready for bullshit.
Let's preface this because I do have about
this is extremely,
a little over 2
like,
pages here of stuff to
not
talk about
relevant
from the Nintendo
now.
press conference, and I want to preface this with a big asterisk.
And I've seen it before when it was new, and it's been a while since I've seen it. But whatever, let's keep going. Let's continue.
Nintendo's marketing, Nintendo's E3, game plan has been very different from everyone else's for several years now. We're talking at least 3 years. Nintendo has only done a digital-only press conference, meaning they had no physical conference at E3. Now, not to say that their games weren't on display, not to say that you couldn't go there and hands-on play the stuff, but they were primarily digital, meaning they had this whole pre-packaged presentation ready to go with tons of flair, tons of video editing, you know what I mean, transitions. It wasn't like the other guys who did everything live.
This is coming from the dude, he fucking hates editing, and he always constantly shits on Let's Players that have highly edited videos. So of course he wouldn't like Nintendo to have a highly edited video for E3. But whatever, let's continue.
And
that's
shiny
irrelevant.
And nicely produced for E3, okay?
Okay.
That being said, I would love to hear how many people are going to say, even if you're a Nintendo fanboy, I would love to hear how many people could possibly say that Nintendo had a good press conference or digital presentation at E3 this year.
That is one thing I forgot to mention. This is probably the worst received E3 from Nintendo ever, which is very disappointing to say. But on YouTube, it's got like thousands of dislikes, definitely more than 1,000. Like the dislike bar is half and half, and a lot of people didn't like it, and a lot of people didn't like the games that were presented, and a lot of people didn't like the presentation overall. But let's continue. Let's see what Darkside Phil has to say.
Mean as we go through everything about the press conference. All right. So the first thing that I want to explain, because if you didn't see the press conference, which I know many of you didn't, you're watching this video to hear my recap. You have to understand there was a running theme throughout the press conference that both disturbed, appalled, and scared people.
Scared people.
I shit you not. There were Muppets on the press conference.
Muppets are scary now?
Say, whoa, Kermit the Frog was the host? Kermit the Frog here, and I'm here to present Kingdom Hearts 3. Yay!
I'm not even going to comment on this.
That's not what I mean. I actually mean that they had puppets that looked almost like Muppets, okay?
Okay.
Of Iwata, the CEO of Nintendo, Miyamoto, the legendary game designer, and Reggie Fils-Aimé, the head of CEO of Nintendo of America. They were creepy, they made no fucking sense, and they showed up multiple times during the conference where they would do weird skits. Like at one point they showed the puppet of Iwata.
Now I want to know how these Muppets are creepy, but the normal Muppets not. I don't know.
It looks to be a real desk, like maybe it's Iwata's real desk at Nintendo offices, with a bunch of bananas sitting on his lap, and he's just sitting there like this with the bananas in his hands, and he turns to the camera like this.
He doesn't get the banana reference.
And then it cuts away.
But he's a big fan of Nintendo, don't worry.
What the fuck
is that supposed to be? He's a huge fan of Nintendo. He doesn't get any references, though.
Huh? Ever. There's one where there's Reggie Fils-Aimé on one side.
I'm not trying to go completely off course here, but he's a huge fan of Nintendo, right? Going by his words. But he fucking hates Iwata. Well, I'm not going to say he hates him, but he said some stuff that would imply that he hates him, at least in a few ways. Mainly it's because Nintendo, Nintendo have their YouTube situation and they copyright claimed a bunch of his shit. So that's really why, in my opinion, that's really why he hates Nintendo. But besides that, we're going to go a little bit off course here. Earthbound is one of or his favorite game. And Mr. Iwata had a lot to do with Earthbound. But of course, the huge fan of Nintendo, huge fan of Earthbound, of course he doesn't know that. Maybe once in a while, look up information about games instead of just playing them on the internet and trying to get paid for it.
And Miyamoto on this side, the puppets, not the real ones. And then you got Iwata dancing in front of them like this, and then it cuts away, and you're like, what the fuck am I watching?
What is fun?
I really do hate to say it.
I hate to say it.
Because as you guys know,
here we go. I'm a huge fan of Nintendo.
I would say this. Please understand, I am a fan of Nintendo. I grew up with...
And I say this, please understand, Italian man talking on a screen is extremely racist.
Nintendo in the 80s. I grew up with Nintendo in the 90s. I don't know what the fuck they're doing anymore. Like, I can't even kind of justify why this was in the press conference, what it was supposed to be. Maybe it's whimsical, right? Well, first of all, you copied the Muppets. Your puppets look like Muppets, like straight out of the the old school Muppet movies and the Muppet Show. So you see this, and you're like, what the fuck?
Stop looking at the chat, dude.
Right? Immediately, like it's a ripoff.
Like he constantly looking at OBS or looking at the chat for no fucking reason.
And you're just like, what? And actually, a lot of the conference was kind of like, what am I watching? I thought I was supposed to be watching an announcement from Nintendo about their new games, and you end up watching some weird shit. You're like, what is this? We'll talk more about that as we get into the meat of the press conference, all right? But the best
how long it's taking
comparison
him to
that I
start.
can say, and I hate to say it, it's kind of ironic and almost opportune that they had puppets of the top guys at Nintendo. Because that's how I think of them these days. They're a bunch of Muppets. They're people who basically live in their own world. They're another dimension from us.
DSP is telling me, telling the viewer that the Nintendo, you know, high ups, executives, CEOs, and all of that shit, that they live in their own world. DSP is telling me that someone else lives in their own world. The man that literally has no friends, quite literally has no fucking friends. I'm not just saying it's trying to like be an asshole. He has no fucking friends. He lives with his girlfriend. When he moved across country, he left all his friends behind. He doesn't talk to them anymore at all. He doesn't do anything with anyone besides his girlfriend. And you're telling me that these people live in their own world. These successful people that, you know, run a real business, they live in their own world because they do fun stuff and because they do stuff that's outside of the norm. This is the same dude that was filming his TV screen in the year 2013 because it was different and because he didn't want to change. He wasn't living in his own world though. Of course not. Everyone else is. You know, Iwata and Miyamoto and Reggie Fils-Aimé, they live in their own world.
They don't listen to feedback from actual gamers.
Remember my other video? I think I named it like DSP is Nintendo or some shit. They don't listen to feedback from customers. This is the same dude that hears feedback and says stop it. Literally, he said that recently. He said people asking me to do this, stop it. But you're telling me Nintendo doesn't listen to feedback. Do you want me to compare you to Nintendo again?
They don't listen to feedback from the consumers who buy stuff that aren't the real gamers, but maybe just buy into their trends. They really don't listen to anyone.
Real
they
gamers.
just basically live with their heads up.
We don't. This is like super duper my opinion, and you can really ignore it if you want because I don't want to have a conversation about something that's silly. But real gamers, really, we're really gonna do that? Real gamers. All gamers are spending money on games. If we only had real hardcore gamers buy games, I don't think that would help anybody out. Just saying. I mean, if Nintendo only has casual, you know, casual gamers and shit, and they made stuff tailored to hardcore gamers, then Nintendo wouldn't make any money at all, right? I don't know. Apparently they don't listen to fans, and they don't make stuff for real gamers. So they make stuff for casual gamers. The casual gamers buy it, and they keep making stuff for casual gamers. That sounds like listening to the fans to me, because the fans are the casual gamers, according to your logic. I might be missing something here. Let's continue.
They think that no matter what they do, it's the best decision for their company, even when their company continues to lose money.
Wow, DSP is Nintendo again. He thinks everything he makes is the best decision for his YouTube channel, and he just keeps running it into the fucking ground. So let's continue.
Even though this year I believe they did actually make some profit, but they lost money for quite a long time there. And it just blows my fucking mind that, you know what I mean? Like, what an analogy. The leadership of Nintendo is a bunch of Muppets. And that would be why the company makes such stupid fucking decisions. Because they're fucking puppet idiots. Yes,
wow.
That actually makes perfect sense. Okay?
It's real good to say something like this in the beginning of a coverage video. Something that's supposed to be taken seriously and professionally. Just gonna put that out there. To call owners of a company that you're trying to cover or report on Muppets and idiots. You can say whatever you want to say about gaming journalism, but I don't think anybody at any of these websites, I'm not going to say anything negative or positive about them, anybody at any of these websites like IGN and Kotaku and Polygon and all of that shit, I don't think they're going to call the owner of a company a fucking Muppet or an idiot. Even if it's a shitty little no-name indie company, or even if it's a big-name company like Nintendo or Sony. That's the most unprofessional thing you could fucking do, especially when your life literally revolves around video games. If video games went away today, DSP wouldn't have a job. He wouldn't have anything to do. He wouldn't have any way to make money. And you're going to call these people idiots? All right, then.
So now let's actually go into the real conference of what was covered. Okay?
It took him 5 minutes.
The first game
5
that
minutes
was
of
shown
shitting on
and talked
Nintendo
about
before we actually
in this
started.
conference
Good
was
job.
Star Fox. All right, so they start showing actual gameplay of the new Star Fox on the Wii U. So they're playing immediately. They show new stuff, that's exactly what you need to do. You're showing a new game. Show me why I need it. So they're showing the R-wing flying around in 60 frames per second, pretty decent graphics. Although I'll say this. I don't think the graphics were too revolutionary. Like watching
It's
this
a fucking
conference,
Wii U game.
the graphics were still a little blocky.
Why are you
It
such a
almost reminded me
graphics
of, like,
whore?
wow, it's maybe GameCube level graphics. It didn't look next gen to me.
GameCube
The Wii U was
level.
supposed to be a next gen system. Didn't look amazing.
When was the Wii U sold as a next gen system? Meaning, let me know if I'm wrong, but I don't remember the Wii U ever being marketed or sold as a next gen system. It's a fucking Nintendo system. They kind of do whatever they want to do. Just like he said, they're living in their own world. So why would they try to follow Sony and Microsoft by making the Wii U a next-gen system? This dude said himself that the Wii U, before the PS4 and Xbox One came out, he said himself that the Wii U was going to turn from being a next-gen system to a last-gen system. So he said the Wii U was going to be not a next-gen system. But now you're saying it's a next-gen system. But he can't ever keep his story straight.
Okay. But it's flying
Apparently
around,
the Wii U
doing
is a
whatever.
next-gen system.
All of a sudden the R-Wing transforms, immediately turns into a walker, starts walking and shooting. That's cool. Show me something new. Then they show the R-Wing can now turn into a tank. And the tank has hover jets that can push it around, like almost like I would say almost like the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars. That's cool. And then they actually show that it could turn into this hover vehicle, which they actually call the Gyro Wing. That's cool. And in fact, then they cut, after all that gameplay, they cut to Miyamoto, all right?
Isn't this the
Miyamoto
trailer
admits, he's
people
like, this
hated
stuff,
on the
especially
internet?
Walker,
Like it got like
was
16,000
actually
dislikes or some
supposed
shit?
to be in Star Fox 2, which was supposed to come out on the Super NES, but was canned somewhere mid-production, even though it was almost done. For some reason, it was canned. So he's so happy to finally bring it back, right? Okay, great. Then they proceed to show... And this is what I mean about this press conference.
Am I
Are you
thinking
showing
about
me games,
Metroid?
or is this some kind of a
I
documentary
don't know.
on Nintendo?
We'll see when
They
we get
show
to it.
Miyamoto at a shrine in Japan. Now you have to understand. You have to have a cultural
Listen to
reference
this
to understand
shit.
this. In Japan, they have these shrines.
Listen
throughout
to
their
this
country,
fucking
which have to do
assholery.
with this Shinto religion, which is kind of not even really a religion, but a spirituality in a lot of ways. And the Japanese
All
are
right,
into
keep
this
going.
stuff. So
The
this
Japanese
shrine,
are
even though it might
into
not be
this
a super
stuff.
religious shrine could have a lot of cultural significance to the Japanese. And Miyamoto's there. He says, "Oh, I live only like a block away from here, and I did that on purpose because I like to come here and surround myself with the shrine and see myself surrounded. And that's where I got the inspiration for Star Fox, the new one, because the game is about being surrounded by content and always being able to look around and I'm like, no, you did not sit at this Shinto temple and get a revolutionary idea for the new Star Fox, Mr. Miyamoto. I'm sorry, but I'm calling you out.
Yet again, this is supposed to be serious professional coverage of E3. He spent the first 5 minutes shitting on Nintendo, and now he's trying to shit on something someone said and call him out as a liar. He has no proof or no reason to call him out as a liar. He just wants to do it because he doesn't want Miyamoto to have an interesting story behind his game. And this is the same dude shitting on other cultures, but this is the dude that, oh, Italian food, I'm Italian. Really? So, you know, your culture is good. You can talk about your culture all day, but someone else talks about theirs. Oh, no, you're just saying bullshit. I'm not going to believe you. All right, then.
A liar. That's not what happened. What you're trying to do is do some kind of fancy cultural thing.
Fancy cultural
so Americans
thing.
will be like, oh, it's something cultural. That's neat and cute. No, you designed it in a game fucking studio like everyone else. The same ideas as everyone else. You designed it like everything else. Star Fox was not imagined at a Shinto shrine. He's so full of shit, and he's just trying to integrate culture into this montage, which is bullshit.
What's wrong with that, though?
It doesn't belong at the E3
It doesn't belong at the E3 press conference. Stop looking at the chat.
He's doing this, he's talking about it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, whatever. And you literally can
I'm like,
fast forward
all right,
through
whatever.
It's almost
professional
like
E3 coverage.
10 to 15 minutes of him at this shrine. And it's like, what does this have to do with the game? So finally they get to the game.
What does it have to do with the
transformation
game?
to tanks, and Miyamoto explains the transformation
I
to the tank.
thought he
Then they
said
cut to
what
Reggie
it had to do
Fils-Aimé,
with the game,
and
but okay.
I don't know where the hell he is. He's like, it almost looks to me like he's in a high school auditorium.
What is he
or
looking
something.
at?
You know what I mean? It's very odd. And
He's
it's like
not
he
looking at the
stares
paper
behind him
that
when he
got
has, like,
stuff rolled down. It's like he's just
the
looking at the
question
chat
mark
in
block
OBS
and
constantly.
freaking Mario pipe from Super
Chill
Mario
out, dude.
Brothers, all behind him, right? And it's real weird. Like, where the hell on earth would he be that this stuff exists? Maybe they have a filming studio at Nintendo of America. I don't know. Just seemed really odd. So he starts talking, oh, tonight, the theme of our presentation will be transformation. Even though, you know, we're going to be talking about games, we're going to be talking about a lot of things. For example, Nintendo is going to come to theme parks soon. We'll be part of Universal Studios. And we've announced that we're going to be part of mobile devices. We announced this last year that Nintendo
hyped
games will be
for
coming to
opinionated
mobile a lot.
bullshit.
And then he
I
goes,
know it's coming.
oh, and Nintendo's new console, the NX.
Oh,
will be
yeah, it's
revolutionary,
coming.
but
I
that's
can't
coming
wait
next
for him
year.
to try to
We're not
shit on
going to give
Nintendo
you,
again.
You know, a lot of information
This
about
is
that
pretty
stuff.
much
We're just going to talk about
20
that next
minutes of
year,
shitting on
but rest
Nintendo.
assured we will. And then that's it. Then they cut away. And it's kind of like...
It's kind of like,
so basically what
so basically,
Reggie Fils-Aimé is admitting is that Nintendo has failed as a game-making company, right? We can't make...
He admitted that they failed as a game-making company. When? So if I'm a... First of all, Nintendo made other shit before they made games, but of course the huge fan of Nintendo wouldn't know that. Anyway, so if I'm making a thing and I decide to make another thing, then that means I'm admitting that the first thing I made was a failure because I'm trying to make another thing. So with that logic, he makes gameplay videos, and he started making gameplay videos, and now he does vlogs, and he wants to do it like a fucking half TV show thing. So that means your gameplay videos are a failure, and you're admitting they're a failure. I guess so. I guess so. I mean, Nike make like t-shirts and shit, so shoes must be a failure, because why would you want to do more than one thing? If you try to do more than one thing when you was known for doing one thing, that mean the original thing you was known for doing is a failure. So alright, Nintendo selling games in general is a failure, and they have to do theme parks and shit.
Games that people won't buy anymore, and that will actually, you know, sell and make profit, so we can be a company that will
the games
that.
don't make
now we have
profit.
To do theme parks.
All right,
we have
then.
to make mobile games, which isn't our primary market, and we have to, you know, push to the next console, because obviously the Wii U was a flop, so we have to push on to the NX and forget like the Wii U ever existed. And I hate to say it, but that's kind of what the theme of the whole thing was, because there were, as you'll see as I go through here, there'll be very few Wii U announcement games or anything about the Wii U. Most of the conference was about the Nintendo 3DS, or at least the games that are coming out in the near future are Nintendo 3DS.
Take a sip.
Okay.
Okay.
So next they start talking about Mario Maker temporary release, very short, but they get back to that later, so I won't even get to Mario Maker. There's a huge segment, I shit you not.
These E3 coverages.
It's over 10 minutes long.
What is he looking at?
Amiibo.
Stop looking at the chat.
So out of their, you know, it was only about 40 minutes.
Amiibo
their
hate.
Presentation.
Hype. Amiibo hate hype.
Amiibos. And let me tell
Here
you
we
something.
go.
It looks very unsettling when you've got Reggie Fils-Aimé, who actually is a big, physically imposing person in real life. Those who don't know, he's actually a big dude. He's sitting there with a toy of like Bowser, with another full-grown man sitting there with a toy, and they're sitting there going like this with their toys. So here's the new Amiibo. Tell me what the Amiibo's going to integrate. And then they show, you know, fucking Mario Party or some shit. Oh.
Gotta go off topic yet again. He's shitting on grown men, quote unquote, playing with toys. But this is the same dude that was 27, 28, 29 years old, buying a bunch of statues and shit. And to this day, he's trying to sell those statues. But, they work for a company, and they can't try to push the product that's a part of their fucking company. That's not okay. But it was okay when you bought a bunch of statues that cost $400. All right, back on topic. Let's continue.
And anyone who's there who cares about games is like, what the fuck? Like,
anyone's there who cares about games, because people that like games, because people that buy Amiibos don't like games. That's his logic. All these gaming websites with hardcore gamers that buy all the fucking Amiibos that come out. But gamers don't buy Amiibos. People that want to buy toys buy Amiibos. That makes no fucking sense at all. If I didn't give a fuck about video games, why would I want to buy a Link Amiibo or a Mario Amiibo? What am I going to use it with? I don't own games, so what am I going to do with it? I'm going to buy the Amiibo, then buy the games? Let's continue.
I understand Amiibos are a fad.
A fad.
You know what I mean? And I understand this is E3. This is Electronic Entertainment Expo, not sell overhyped toys expo. Electronic Entertainment Expo. So talk about the electronics.
But Amiibos are electronics.
Exist. I can't get away from them. I hear about them on the internet every day. I hear about them on my stream chat every day. I hear about them on TV. They're the big thing. You were successful selling a toy that 2 other companies sold before you because you jumped on a bandwagon of popularity instead of doing something original. I get
but
that.
Nintendo sold toys before all of those other companies that sell little toys.
I need to hear about your
So what are you talking about?
Just saying.
But you're a big Nintendo fan.
All right, so next.
All right, whatever.
They talk about a new game. It looks almost exactly like Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventures. For those of you who don't know what that is, it was a cooperative Zelda game that was made back on a Nintendo handheld system.
Game Boy Advance.
Okay? And it had 4-player co-op, where 4 players could play locally. You all had to be close to each other, I believe. I don't know if they ever made one that had online connectivity. I could be wrong. But you had to basically have 4 players who all played.
He's telling me like he knows and I don't, but he don't know himself.
That played very much like The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. They made a new one. This one's called Triforce Heroes.
It played like a game that came out after?
Not 4-player.
No, Link to the Past came out before. I'm thinking about the other Link to the Past like game. My bad.
The reason for this was because they wanted to do some different gameplay elements. Like there's one called the Totem, where you stand on top of each other, and they realized that when there was 4 people on top of each other, they couldn't. It was too complicated. They couldn't implement it as much. So they made it 3-player. So you got a 3-person totem of standing on top and doing puzzles and stuff like that. But the game's pretty innovative. They've got different outfits that do
Wow, he
things.
actually said the game is innovative. That's a surprise.
Bombs. They've got a suit that can take hits and not take any damage. They had a suit where it was like an unlimited spin slash suit. Every attack you do is like a super spin slash or something like that. And then they actually explained that, don't worry, if you want to play this game single player, because you don't happen to have people you could play with over the internet, or, you know, I mean, let's be honest. If I wanted to get this game, you really think I'm going to coordinate with fucking 2 other people to our schedules to play this game together?
You can't even coordinate with one other person.
Single player, where the other links are dolls, basically AI
dolls.
and you can swap between all the links to do all the puzzles and everything. Anyway,
so the way you pronounce some stuff is hilarious.
This game, excuse me, will be coming out hopefully next year, but no release date has been promised. Not even 2016. It's just in development. So that's one. It's called Triforce Heroes on the 3DS. The next game. There will be a 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors that not only will include all the characters from the original game on Wii U last year, as well as the DLCs for the Wii U, but they will also include new characters from the Wind Waker that will be exclusive to the 3DS version. So a lot of people
I'm looking at the chat,
about Hyrule Warriors and said, this is the kind of game that would do really well on the Nintendo 3DS, but they put it out for the Wii U, which honestly, not a lot of people rushed out to buy.
Wait.
And
So first of all, apparently not a lot of people rushed out to buy Hyrule Warriors. I don't believe that. But people complain and say Hyrule Warriors would do better on a 3DS. Who the fuck had that complaint? When does a Warriors game come out and people say it would be better on a handheld? Those games have never been better on a handheld. Did like 2 people complain about that on his forums and he think that's gospel? Okay.
Way more people have 3DSs worldwide than Wii U's. So they said, I wish it would be handheld, so Nintendo gave them what they wanted. It's coming out supposedly next year, okay? Now this next game, I don't think I've heard as much uproar about a game from Nintendo in a while as I did about this next one. Metroid Prime Federation Forge.
Okay, this was the game that had like a ton of fucking dislikes. I was getting it mixed up with
a side minigame called
Star
Black
Fox.
Ball coming out in 2016. It's basically
that
a
game
player
got
kind of
crapped
cooperative
on the
gameplay
internet.
that mimics the gameplay of Metroid Prime, although supposedly Samus isn't in it. It doesn't actually like have any kind of a mainstream story tied to the Metroid Prime universe. It's just kind of a Metroid Prime-like game on the 3DS. And I think the reason people are so fucking pissed about this announcement isn't the game itself, it's that Metroid Prime 3 was a long fucking time ago. And people really liked the Metroid Prime series, like, so much so that just recently Nintendo released the Metroid Prime Trilogy, right, on Nintendo Wii U, so you could replay those games because it was very hard to find the physical copies of those games anymore. And you've got a series.
Stop looking at the chat.
It's Force, not Forge.
Oh my god, he fucking looking at the chat during the thing. Are you serious?
But yeah, but people are pissed. And they're like, This isn't a Metroid game. This is like a first-person shooter cooperative game with the name of Metroid slapped on it just for the sake of it. Why could they make a new Metroid Prime? So I guess people are completely flipping out because they basically
completely flipping out as I stare at the fucking chat and lose my train of thought.
A new game.
Good
in the
God.
Metroid Prime series. They don't want some what-if silly first-person shooter game for the 3DS. I don't know. I've actually not played Metroid Prime, so I don't know.
I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. I haven't played half of their games.
Well, a lot of people are just pissed off that they gave it the Metroid Prime name, and they're saying this is not Metroid Prime. We want to.
I'm a huge fan of Nintendo. I don't know anything about the backgrounds of the games, and I haven't played half of them.
Fair enough.
That's him right there, in a nutshell.
Up next.
Fair enough.
They had Fire Emblem Fates, which apparently will be a new Fire Emblem game. It was no gameplay, just basically a big cinematic trailer for it, saying it's coming out in 2016. Didn't give any kind of a definitive release date on that. Would not be surprised if that makes it to the States, considering that Fire Emblem usually does pretty decently on Nintendo consoles, i.e. The 3DS. The next trailer, I'm going to be honest with everyone.
No info about Fire Emblem Fates. Couldn't look it up at all.
Trailer, no gameplay.
Couldn't look up 2 seconds of the game.
I didn't know what the fuck I was watching. Like, I didn't have a clue. And everything was in Japanese. The voice,
the game he's talking about here is Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem, I believe it's called. But he couldn't do 2 seconds of research. This is my problem with all of his E3 videos, and the same problem I had with his other E3 videos, which is why they annoy me so much to see to watch them. Fire Emblem Fates, he knows nothing about it. He says nothing about it. The next game, I don't even know what it is. It's so Japanese. I don't know what it is. I'm scared. He couldn't do 5 seconds of research and look up something. He couldn't do 5 seconds of research and say, this is the name. Really? This is like, supposed to be something taken seriously. This is made for people that didn't watch E3 and that won't watch E3. And they watch his recap. And if you watch his recap and don't look up anything else about E3, you don't even know that SMT Cross Fire Emblem is going to come out soon. Or that it got new info or new trailers or whatever. What? Let's continue.
Everything was Japanese. So it's like fucking anime-looking girls with swords flying around, people with weapons, and anime, crazy anime. Oh God, oh, it's like out of control. Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ, I wish I could look away from the screen for a minute because you're going to have a seizure if you keep watching. And finally it ends. And all
Stop looking at the chat. What the fuck?
Japanese.
FE. Japanese.
And I sat there, I don't have a fucking clue what I just saw.
He couldn't look it up. Looking at the chat, looking at the chat, looking at the chat, looking at the chat.
I have
looking at the chat, looking at the chat, looking at the chat, looking at the chat.
What is this?
Looking at the chat, looking at the chat, looking at the chat. What the fuck?
Yes, this game is actually Shin Megami Tensei Cross Fire Emblem. This is a game that people who are into those series
did he get that info from the chat?
And apparently it's actually
looking at the chat, looking at the chat.
A very polarizing game. Some people are thinking it's going to be good, and some people are like, I don't know, this is kind of a bad idea.
It's polarizing because people don't know if it'll be good. Alright, whatever.
And I didn't know that. People had to tell me that after the conference. That's what it was. I was like, I had no fucking clue.
So he did get it from his chat just before the show.
This, right? This
Good fucking God.
The common gamer who's watching all the E3 press conferences, who doesn't know about Shin Megami Tensei, maybe knows what Fire Emblem is because they just saw the Fire.
How does the common gamer not know what SMT is? What? So you mean to tell me the common gamer, first of all, the common gamer sat there and watched Nintendo's E3 press conference? The common gamer. First of all, the common gamer doesn't necessarily watch E3, at least not in my opinion, not the super common gamer. You might be in between being a hardcore gamer and a common gamer, but the common gamer or casual gamer, I don't think is going to watch E3. First of all, that's first of all. Second of all, this common gamer has sat down and watched E3, saw a trailer and said, I'm not going to figure out what that trailer is about. I'm going to completely go based on the info I saw just now, and if I don't know what the game is, I don't know what the game is. Second of all. Third of all, like I said a little while ago, how the fuck does the common gamer that watches E3 not know what SMT is? They never played any of the games. They never played Persona. They never looked at the box art for Persona and saw it say Shin Megami Tensei on there. What kind of common gamer is that? The common gamer sounds like code name for that he uses when it sounds like I'm losing my words. Common Gamer sounds like if you translate Common Gamer into DSP talk, Common Gamer would mean me. When he says the Common Gamer, he's talking about himself, because that doesn't sound like any Common Gamer I heard of that wouldn't know what S&T is and wouldn't do 5 seconds of research to figure out the game that was talked about at E3 that they just sat down and watched. That sounds stupid. But whatever.
Trailer, you wasted about 2 to 3 minutes of their time. Because all they saw was Japanese, kanji, you know, nothing, and they have no fucking clue. This is Dear Nintendo. This is the E3 press conference. This is not Nintendo Japanese Tokyo Game Show press conference.
This seems racist as
fuck. You are trying to sell games
for him to say it
English.
this way.
Fucking use English. Duh. But
Wait. I muted myself by accident. Fucking use English. Duh. Really? Alright then.
Miyamoto at a shrine, and we'll have fucking Muppets dancing across the screen instead of actually just translating shit into English so people know what game you just advertised. Okay.
That sounds so stereotypical. Grew up in America, fuck every other culture. Oh, that's so sad. He really said that, and he said, yeah, this is cool, I'm gonna upload that. I'm not even gonna
over to my nice other template.
talk about that.
I'd like to say again, special thanks to
continue.
Dark Maggot,
Please go to the
Dark
next
Maggot
game.
and Amen Ra, who both made me some really awesome templates for this recap and post-show kind of reactions video. Next, this one kind of did take me a little bit by surprise because I don't think we've seen too much gameplay of this game yet. We heard about it at first, I think it was last year at E3, Xenoblade Chronicles. So this is an action-based RPG in the Xenoblade franchise history. It is exclusively going to be on the Wii U, okay? And this game, you know, very action-based. You're talking giant monsters. It almost kind of looks...
Wait, he says Xenoblade Chronicles. Isn't Xenoblade Chronicles a game already? Doesn't this thing right here say Xenoblade Chronicles X? Let's go on a field trip to see if he's wrong or if he used really bad wording. So, yeah, this is a different thing. Xenoblade Chronicles is its own thing. Xenoblade Chronicles X is a completely different game. Wow. You just looked at your freaking template and you got the name of the game wrong? But he just finished shitting on I can't even think of the name of the dev, but he just finished shitting on the devs for using, like, you know, Japanese language and shit in their trailer and not making it clear what game they were talking about. And then not even 5 minutes later, he says the wrong name for a game when he has the fucking name for the game right under his chin on his screen.
It's like Monster Hunter. I remember last year when I saw this at E3, I said, at first I thought it was Monster Hunter. You know what I mean? But it actually isn't Monster Hunter. It's, you know, it's Xenoblade.
It's, you know,
and I'm watching, I'm like, okay. Then they announced, oh, that's, by the way, that's coming out December 4th, 2015. On to the next game. Whoa, what? Wait, what? Yeah, it's coming out in December. And it's funny because they kind of glossed over that. Oh, yeah, it's coming out December 1st. Okay, next game. What? Like, I didn't even know that. Like, last year we were all waiting, gee, when's it coming out? And they didn't even have a date for us. Now all of a sudden it's coming out first week of December. So that could be a big one for Wii U owners, especially those who are fans of Xenoblade. That was like, for me, that was like a big announcement at this conference that was almost kind of glossed over.
How was it a big announcement for you? He didn't even play the other game. He didn't finish it. He played it, but he didn't finish it.
Write that down quick. I didn't even realize it,
whatever.
Right?
Stop pretending you like the game when you don't.
Next.
Let's continue. Stop looking at the chat.
Animal Crossing.
That's so frustrating. Oh, here we go, shitting on the game.
It's a game where you basically exactly what it sounds like. You're creating houses. It's a sim game. You're making fucking houses and architecture with the Animal Crossing characters and the Animal Crossing art design. And I don't understand. I'm sure there's an audience for this. I'm sure it appeals to someone. It certainly doesn't appeal to me.
Oh, you mean like
So
Animal
that's
Crossing
coming
appeals
out
to millions of people?
9/15/15, so September 15th, 2015. And then they announced, oh, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? Amiibos, more Amiibos coming out for...
This is professional. I'm not even going to use the term professional anymore. This is coverage that's supposed to be taken seriously. Like I keep saying, this is meant... Like, he makes this for people that won't watch E3. And he glosses over so many fucking games and shits on so many stuff. What if I care about Animal Crossing and I'm watching this? I don't know anything about the game now because he didn't say anything about the game.
Animal Crossing, and there'll be a game called Amiibos Festival with Animal Crossing characters where you'll use your Amiibos. It's
like, I don't even know if his information is
Party,
correct because so much of his information be wrong.
Kid.
You just called the game a piece of shit and it's not even out. It said who cares about it besides a 5-year-old? You mean the millions of grown-ups that play Animal Crossing? They won't care about it. Alright then.
So moving on.
Moving on.
Yoshi's Woolly World.
What the fuck is with this dude?
Was kind of interesting because I've seen...
Wait, so Animal Crossing stuff isn't interesting and only a 5-year-old will care about it, but you're interested in Yoshi's Woolly World. Huh? I'm missing the logic here. You interested in one game that you could say is made for a 5-year-old, but you're not interested in another game that you could say is made for a 5-year-old. You see what happens when you generalize stuff in a really stupid fucking way? You don't make sense.
That's the first time I actually heard a game developer who worked on it talk about it, and she's like, oh yeah, I was one of the main game developers of Yoshi Epic Yarn a few years back. And I'm like...
Stop looking
wow,
at the chat.
That's actually pretty good. Like,
there's no reason
really
to do that.
You know, for those who didn't see it, Kirby's Epic Yarn was actually a really great game that I think people say to this day, that was a unique playthrough that I did.
I'm shilling himself. That was a unique playthrough I did. What the fuck does that have to do with E3? Didn't he say earlier, oh, what does this have to do with the game? What does this have to do with E3? What the fuck does your playthrough have to do with E3? Him shilling his playthrough is the equivalent of Miyamoto talking about being in the shrine.
It was a cute
Get out of
game.
here.
It was fun. I felt positive the whole
I felt
playthrough
positive playing it.
because I felt so happy about
Stop looking
it.
at the chat.
It was just a nice, positive, fun game. Not that it wasn't super challenging at the same time. It was, you know what I mean? It was just a pleasant game.
Move on,
and if
move
Yoshi's Woolly
on.
World is anything
Wrap it
like
up.
that, I think that it could be pretty good.
Take a sip. Okay.
And they also say
Oh,
this
no,
game
okay.
is co-op, which I didn't know. The game has 2-player co-op. And making co-op actually looks like it can make the game a little bit easier because one Yoshi can suck the Yoshi in as if you
So
have a projectile.
we get all of this talk about one game made for 5-year-olds, but we get no talk about the other game made for 5-year-olds. Good coverage.
And spit out the Yoshi like a projectile to reach
Good
up high
coverage.
ledges, or even to spit Yoshi onto high ledges that normally Yoshi couldn't reach. So it actually looks like 2-player makes the game easier rather than harder. The other, Mario games that have come out the past few years on the Wii and the Wii U, actually the game becomes harder with co-op. In this game, it seems to become easier. So that's kind of a cool thing.
Okay. Oh, no, okay.
And then again,
Here we go
Amiibos, right?
again.
Everything has to be Amiibos. If you get the Amiibo,
Just don't talk about
right,
him if you hate
get
him
the
so
Amiibo.
much.
It does nothing in the game of any
And
use.
look, as a matter of fact, I could say he could, if he hates Amiibos, obviously, just don't talk about them. Just pretend they weren't mentioned. Because if you could say half the name of a game and say it's a piece of shit, it's made for 5-year-olds and not mention it, then you could just say Amiibos are stupid and not mention it instead of talking about it at all. Because this is just pure salt flying out of your mouth at this point. You hate Amiibos so much and you don't want to talk about them, then don't talk about them. Wouldn't that be the way it should work? I don't know, I might be missing something here.
All it does, it colors Yoshi to look like the Amiibo. So if you have the Mario Amiibo and you scan it into Yoshi's Woolly World, Yoshi gets a fucking Mario skin. So he has a fake mustache, he has the color scheme of Mario. Still looks like Yoshi, the body's shaped like Yoshi, but he's got Mario's color scheme. Wow, I really fucking needed that. So that was definitely worth my money to go get the Mario Amiibo to get a color scheme for Mario.
I don't
on
think
my
people got the
character. What a
Mario
waste of
Amiibo
time,
just for
like every
that,
fucking
but
amiibo.
okay,
And
continue,
that game is coming
wrap
out
it up,
October
get off of
16th,
that.
2015. So mark your calendars, mid-October, when every other game is
Jesus.
coming out. I guess you gotta try to squeeze in with Yoshi's Woolly World. All right, the next thing that came on, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, actually intrigued
Looking
me
at the
and
chat.
interested me. It was called Yokai Watch.
He doesn't know
looked
what
like
Yokai
Pokemon,
Watch is,
but it
which is
looked like it had some kind of
amazing.
unique twist where it wasn't Pokemon,
But he's a hardcore
like it
gamer.
was
He doesn't know what
ghosts or some
Yokai Watch
supernatural
is.
aspect. Like you couldn't normally see the creatures, but if you use some kind of a device, then you can find them. And so again, it looks like Pokemon. There are even
It
Pokemon
looks
style
like
battles. You
Pokemon.
catch these creatures, you're fighting them, but it's not just one-on-one. Now it's like parties, almost like an old school RPG with 3-on-3 turn-based combat. But then there's this watch aspect, I guess, in the 3DS.
He couldn't
you
do
know?
5 seconds of
And you're,
research
like,
on
touching
Yokai Watch. The
touch
game's been out
screen,
for
it makes a
years in
watch
Japan,
spin,
dude.
and there's all kind, I don't know, very
You can find out
confusing.
information about it
And
so fucking
it's
easy.
very, very confusing,
And that's another
in my
thing.
opinion.
This is the last time I'm gonna talk about him not doing doing research for his E3 shit. He could have looked up some information on Yokai Watch. One of his fans that didn't watch E3, or might have even watched E3, and they watched this. He could possibly have more information on the game than they got from watching E3 originally. So now his video is actually useful. Instead of him saying, well, I don't know, it looks like Pokemon, and it's got a watch aspect, but I don't know, and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. This is the last time I'm gonna talk about that.
But it looked good. Like I'll be honest, it looks like Pokemon. Even the art style, very similar to Pokemon.
I don't think the
But
art
I
style
kinda
is similar to
liked it. I
Pokemon
don't
at
know what it
all.
was about it. It looked interesting to me, and that's actually supposedly coming out holiday 2015. Like what? I never even heard of it. This is the first I heard of this game.
It's been out for
Yokai
years.
Watch. Oh, it comes out
It's like one of the most
2015.
popular games in Japan.
So apparently there's a game coming out, you know, whatever it is coming out in December. We don't know when
Good
yet.
Lord.
But I'd be interested to see what it is. Is it any good? Is it as good as Pokemon, a new franchise that's similar to Pokemon but has some kind of a twist?
Is
to
it any
I don't
good?
understand it, but it looks good. I don't
I
know.
think it is.
Then they announced Mario and Luigi Paper Jam, which is an actual fusion of two franchises. The old school Paper Mario franchise from the GameCube is now being fused with the
Yes,
Mario
because it's
and
only
Luigi
on the GameCube.
RPG
Paper Mario
action
is only
series
on
from
the
from
GameCube, of
mobile.
course.
So remember they had like Mario and Luigi, what was it, Superstar Saga or something
Why did
like
he
that?
call
And it was,
handheld
one where
systems
you're inside
mobile?
Bowser, something like that. Bowser's Inside Story. They're combining the two universes, and it's funny because you have paper versions of every character, and you have like the more 3D, 3DS versions of every character, combined into a kind of combination crossover story. So if you're a fan of either franchise, you'll probably like this game. If you've been playing those games, you'll definitely want to play this one.
Stop
I'll be
looking at the
honest, I
chat.
played one of the Paper Mario games and I liked it. I didn't play any of the other one, the Superstar or whatever they are.
Huge fan of Nintendo. Like I said, hasn't played half of the fucking games and doesn't know any background research on any of the games. Huge fan of Nintendo.
Are those? I never played those. If we didn't play this game, I probably wouldn't understand it. Although it seems unique. I don't know. For me, I don't know. This one actually might not be my cup of tea. But I don't know. I digress. They said it's coming out in 2016, spring 2016.
You don't know anything about
I'm
it.
not sure exactly, but as we get more information on it, I'll try to get more, more of a vibe on if it's something that I want to play or not.
Take a sip.
All right, Mario Tennis. That's all I'm going to say about Mario Tennis, because guess what? It's Mario Tennis. The same game that comes out on every fucking Nintendo console ever. They do nothing. It's the same fucking game with a few new characters and one or two new things.
This is
I'll
research.
be honest, the graphics
This is
to me
supposed
look
to be
like it's on
taken
the GameCube.
seriously.
They don't-
Mario Tennis. I'm not gonna say anything else. It's Mario Tennis. He's still talking about Mario Tennis.
even look like they've
But he's
jumped
not gonna say
anything from
anything
the
else.
GameCube. It looks
He's
like
just gonna
basic
give some
Mario Tennis.
uninformative
I'm not even gonna
nonsense.
talk about it anymore 'cause it's
Good
fucking
fucking
Mario Tennis.
job.
And so
On
then
to
they
the next
closed
one.
the show.
What the
big, how do you close
Whatever.
the show?
Let me
You
not
know
get
what I
annoyed.
mean?
This
You close
this
it with
dude
a bang,
is something.
right? Well, they spend literally 20 minutes on Mario Maker. So apparently, if you're watching this is their big thing for the year is Mario Maker, right? So before I talk about Mario Maker, that's it. Like, that's the end of the press conference. So, going through all the games that were in the press conference, you started with Star Fox, Muppets, Amiibos, a new Zelda game that's kind of like Four Swords Adventures, right? Hyrule Warriors getting a 3DS port. Metroid Prime 4-player co-op game that's really not Metroid Prime. Fire Emblem's coming out sometime in 2016. There's a crossover Shin Megami Tensei Fire Emblem in 2016. Xenoblade Chronicles in December. That's a good one, right? A new Animal Crossing.
A good
Animal
one.
Crossing
Game
with
you didn't
fucking
finish.
Amiibos, Yoshi's Woolly World. This new Yokai that we know nothing about yet. It's coming out in December.
We know nothing
There's the
about
Mario
it.
Luigi game and Mario
Okay.
Tennis. Wow.
Sure.
Guess what? No real announcements. You sat through.
No real announcements. So Metroid, the game that people got really pissed off about right after E3, that wasn't a real announcement. Everyone already knew it was coming out, and they just decided to get pissed off about it then. Mario Maker, them talking about that, wasn't a real announcement. Xenoblade Chronicles X, not a real announcement. None of that was real announcements. They just talked about stuff everybody already knew about, but the dude saying this is someone that doesn't watch Nintendo Directs. So how was none of this a real announcement? Let's see his explanation.
40-some minutes of this press conference, and nothing's really been announced. Everything you knew was already, like, we already knew about the 99% of these games. The very few that were, like, the first time announced weren't that big of a deal.
They
So,
weren't a big deal, so they don't
you could've
count.
completely skipped Nintendo's press conference, and you kind of missed nothing besides weird puppets and fucking 20-minute interviews that had nothing to do with E3. It was a really odd press conference. But now let's close it with Mario Maker. Mario Maker. Oh, Miyamoto sits there with some other guy who apparently he's worked with for like 30 years, and they talk about, oh,
Apparently
this is
he's
how we
worked
make the original
with.
Mario levels. No one cares.
No
We're
one
here to talk about
cares.
games. We're not here to talk about.
No one cares. We're here to talk about games. Oh, are you fucking serious? So you got Miyamoto and someone else talking about quite literally the motherfuckers that created Mario. Talking about creating Mario. No one cares. We want to talk about games. If that's not the most talking about games thing that could ever be seen, what the hell is talking about games? That's like having a priest at your house talking about religion, and you say, oh, I don't want to hear about that. I want to talk about religion. What?
A documentary on Miyamoto, how he lives near a shrine, and how he made the Mario 1 levels or whatever. We're here to talk about games.
But
They barely
Mario
talk
is
about
games.
They show lots of it. They show, oh, this game's cool because you can use the graphical templates from Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 1, 3, and World. You cannot use Super Mario 2. Apparently, it never existed because it wasn't in there as an option that I saw.
Never
Maybe
existed.
I'm wrong. Maybe it is in there. But keep in mind, Super Mario 2 is kind of weird because in the U.S. it was one game and in Japan it was another game. So
people
I can understand they're
know.
being almost, trepidatious about doing it. They're worried that maybe people won't understand why it looks how it
People
does.
won't
But
understand.
pretty cool that they've
I don't
got
think
all
people are
the,
that
the
dumb.
graphics of all the games. I've seen now at this point, I've seen people doing mashups. I think making hellish levels for Mario that are just fucking evil. You could also have sprites in there from other stuff. There was like sprites in there of other games and stuff that you could do in it. Don't get me wrong.
Stop
I
looking at the
actually
chat.
think that Mario Maker not only will be a good game, but will actually be one of the most creative things. The question is, will it sell like Nintendo apparently thinks it will?
Why
Because
wouldn't
let's
it?
face it, Little Big
It's
Planet,
basically
let's
a
shoot
fucking
back to
ROM
way
hack
back
make-
when,
a ROM
right?
hack
Early
maker
PS3 days, Little Big
for
Planet.
Wii U.
Every
That's
piece of gaming
insane.
media said this game is going to change the way that games are made because you can use their toolkit to create your own levels. The game can be whatever it wants. It's going to change the way that games exist. We're
All this Little Big Planet talk in the middle of a Nintendo recap, but
going to have a
whatever.
whole new world of gaming after Little Big Planet 1 exists. And everyone thought it was going to be the best game ever. Every fucking outlet gave it 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, amazing reviews. And the bottom line is, the common person played it and said, okay, great.
Who was
but
the common
did it change
person?
the face of fucking gaming? No.
Just like I said earlier, when he says the common gamer, he's just talking about himself. I don't know who else he's talking about. The common person. Who is the fucking common person? Because how dumb would you have to be to buy a game like Little Big Planet and not know the deal of the game and not know what really makes it interesting and fun and play it for a little while and say, oh, well, there's nothing else to do, throw it away. That's not the common person, because the common person, if they're that common, they wouldn't even bought the game. He's talking about himself again.
No. Did Little Big Planet 1 break sales records? No. It was good. It was good enough to warrant 2 fucking sequels, but it didn't, you know what I mean? It didn't blow things out of the box. The whole press conference
Stop looking at the chat.
building up
Look
to
at this
Mario
shit.
Maker. Is Nintendo saying Mario Maker is our money maker for 2015? I don't think it is. I think you're going to have a small group of people
Small group of people
who like to fuck around and who want to make their own Mario levels for them.
First of all, you really can't compare Little Big Planet to Mario Maker because, like I said, Mario Maker is basically a fucking ROM hack creator for a console, which is fucking insane. Little Big Planet, before Little Big Planet came out, Little Big Planet wasn't a thing. It's not like Little Big Planet was a game for 30 years and they made a Little Big Planet level creator out of nowhere. This is like a Mario level creator out of nowhere. I don't understand how you could compare that to Little Big Planet. First of all, it's fucking Mario. That's good enough to sell right there. Then it's giving people the ability to make their own Mario levels. Come on, dude. I mean, if it don't sell out, you can call me wrong, but I don't see how that could not sell. It sounds silly to say it won't sell, and especially it sounds even more silly to compare it to Little Big Planet, a game that just came out of nowhere when it came out, and it didn't have it wasn't pre-established. Mario was pre-established, so you can't really compare that. But
this is like a dream. Wow, I could finally make my own Mario, right? But outside of that small group of people, how many people want to spend $50 to $60, because we don't know the price tag, is it full 60, to get a game that's just going to be you making Mario levels? You know what I mean?
Little Big Planet was $60, and people bought that.
But for me, like, that's
so
the
why
kind of game
wouldn't people buy
I'll
it?
sit there and I'll play
Whatever,
it for
I'm
a
not
couple
talking
hours,
about it anymore.
maybe a couple times a week, make a couple fun levels, and then I'll want to play a few levels people made, and I'll say that was great, and I'll never play it again.
Yeah, you'll never play it again because you're a Let's Play on YouTube and your job depends on playing stuff on YouTube, and you can't play games on YouTube like Little Big Planet and like Mario Maker that aren't extremely story based, and you can't like try to siphon some kind of money out of it. But I'm not going to go into detail on that. Let's continue.
To move on to, you know, they're like banking that this is their moneymaker. I don't think it is. I think that Miyamoto's head,
I don't think it's going to give me a lot of views, so I don't think it's going to be a good game.
Is
Let's
so
continue.
far up either in the clouds or up his own fucking ass at this point.
More
Nintendo
Nintendo
doesn't
hate.
understand the common consumer and what
The
they
common
want.
consumer.
No one asked for Mario Maker. Did you hear a clamoring over the years? We want to make our own Mario games.
Did you hear clamoring over the years saying we want to make our own Mario games? Maybe the tens of thousands of Mario hacks that are free on the internet, and the millions of people that play those Mario hacks, and the millions of people that watch those Mario hacks. Maybe the fact that some entire YouTube careers of people that have way more subs than you pretty much wouldn't be on YouTube and wouldn't have any popularity if it wasn't for Mario hacks. Mario Maker is basically make your own Mario hack. So I think people kind of want that. Just saying.
Nintendo make it happen? No, and again, this is me going along my same lines of thought. Nintendo does not
You
listen
have a really
to feedback.
dumb line of thought, though. You don't listen to
They refuse
feedback.
to listen to what the consumers want. And what
You
the
refuse
gamers
to
want.
listen
They
to
do
what the
whatever they
viewer
want.
wants.
So
You do whatever
it'd
you
be nice
want.
if other people could make Mario. Woo! This is our game for the year. I would love to see actual sales numbers for Mario Maker. Give it a month or two after it comes out in September, because it comes out September 11th, 2015. Let's see what happens.
September
Seriously, let's see
11th.
what happens with this game.
Not a fan of that release
It's the
date.
best-selling game ever from Nintendo. I would guarantee you it probably will not be a huge seller, and Nintendo will once again say, well, sell more Amiibos because we can't sell games. And then they closed their press conference this year with an actual montage of little kids singing and or playing the Mario theme song, and said,
Little kids singing Mario
go to
songs.
this website to submit your own video and have a chance to be part of the again. That's nice. It's good to stroke your own cock, Nintendo, because we all know that you think that, like,
This is supposed to be
everyone
taken
still loves
seriously,
you,
by
when
the
in
way.
reality, that's not the truth. In reality, you've lost massive amounts of fandom, and the truth is that you are not number one. You're not number two. You're almost in last place when it comes to game developers at this point. And
More Nintendo hate.
it's nice that you want to try. Oh, look, little kids like Nintendo. It's so cute. It was out of place. It didn't belong in the conference. Again, when you have a 40 minutes or 45 minutes, however long the digital presentation was, to show off your stuff, and you're wasting time with interviews with Miyamoto and kids doing music and puppets, you know what that tells me? Once again, for like the third year in a row, Nintendo had no actual content that warranted an E3 event. That they had to fill it with fluff, with bullshit, with amiibos, rather than to actually show you, here's what we've been working on, we're sorry.
Oh, you mean like how your YouTube
Wii,
channel is full of fluff and bullshit?
Here's the great games that you're going to be playing in the next year. No, instead it was, here's a bunch of fluff, and we'll try to shove in some game content here or there. So, you know, I hate to say it. I really hate to say it.
So all of those like top tier game series that they announced new games for, or even gave new info on new games for, none of that counts. Okay then. More Nintendo hate on the way.
They're not.
They're not what they used to be.
The heads of Nintendo, who at once were seen as idols and great, you know, people to look up to in the gaming industry, have fallen from their perches. And Nintendo is not a bad company, but they don't know how to make money being a gaming company anymore. And that's a shame. It's a shame that they have to go back to their same IPs over and 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 over again in order
mean
to
like
make
everyone
money,
else does?
instead of trying to innovate or do anything outside the box that would actually interest people.
So
right?
wait. When Nintendo go back to the old shit over and over again, I'm just so lost with his Nintendo, with his logic he puts towards Nintendo. When Nintendo do different stuff, he shits on them for doing different stuff, but then he also shits on them for bringing out the same IP over and over. So what the fuck do you want Nintendo to do? Whatever.
Just listen. Star Fox, Mario Maker, which is Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Animal Crossing, Yoshi. Okay, Yokai Watch is a new series.
It's not a new series.
Mario and Luigi,
maybe in America,
Mario
of course.
Tennis, Mario Maker.
These games sound like big deals to me.
One game in the entire digital event for Nintendo was something new. Everything else was a rehash, a re-release, a remake of the same shit on a new...
How is Mario Maker a rehash? How is the Metroid Prime Federation Force a rehash? Because it's using the same name of another, you know, of a popular game series? That's not fair. That's not how that works. Oh my god.
For a new handheld is not ridiculous.
I can't take this anymore.
Absolutely
Let's get it
ridiculous.
over.
Please, Lord, someone buy Nintendo.
Someone
At this point,
buy
I have to
Nintendo.
really scream. Someone buy the fuck out of the stock
Yeah,
of
because
Nintendo.
sure, Nintendo
So we
is
can
that
have
cheap.
a company back that cares, that listens, that will give gamers what they want. The Amiibos are fine.
A company
for revenue,
that
right? They need
cares.
the revenue
So you
right
mean
now
to tell
after
me
years of
Sony and
losing money.
Microsoft care, but Nintendo
really
don't?
needs
Give me a
to
fucking
redirect
break.
to become a company of gaming again, because they will never regain their place unless they start listening, which they refuse.
He's this pissed off at Nintendo just for taking ad revenue on YouTube. That's really what it is. And he's double pissed off because Nintendo pushed Amiibo so much.
To do. They are so culture centric. They believe that
A company can't be culture centric, coming from the same motherfucker that says Italian, 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 Italian as many times as he can. So you can love your fucking culture, even though it's not even halfway yours, but a Japanese person can't love their own culture because you don't understand it. Good job.
their decisions are the best. Miyamoto thinks that Mario Maker is the best game ever instead of listening. Alright? Listen to the fucking gamers.
What do the gamers want then? Let me know, DSP, because you apparently know as you're staring at the chat. So what do the gamers want from Nintendo? A better Metroid game? Okay, I can understand that. But as far as everything else, this is stuff that sells. What the fuck else is Nintendo gonna do? Make a completely new IP? That has happened before. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something here, but Nintendo really do seem like present day Nintendo kind of seem like they can't fucking win and they can't fucking lose. Well, no, it seems like they can only lose because no matter what they do, no matter what they put out, people aren't going to be happy with it. And I think they really have it so hard because they've been around so long. Like, just imagine if Atari never went away, and if Atari just continued to keep going, and the Atari Jaguar was so good, and it had like a Atari Jaguar 2, and then by now we'll be on the Atari Jaguar 5 or some shit. Atari would probably have just as hard of a time as Nintendo, because Atari would have been around longer than Nintendo. And because Nintendo has been around so long, I really think people, I think people just want Nintendo to be perfect. And no company can fucking be perfect. And I hate to use the E word, so I'm not going to use it, but people want Nintendo to give them what they want. And I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not about to go on a freaking Nintendo rant. But I want to know, what do the gamers want from Nintendo? Seriously. Because if you love Mario, if you grew up playing Mario, why would you not want Mario? And I don't know. Like I said, a better Metroid game, okay, I give you that. Less Amiibos. I mean, Nintendo pushing Amiibos, I don't think that's gonna make games not exist. I don't understand, why would you not want a company to make money? So it's not like Miyamoto is coming on camera saying, well, we're gonna make like Mario Galaxy 3, but we really wanted to make these new Amiibos. So Mario Galaxy 3 isn't gonna come out because we want to make some more Amiibos. It's not like that's happening. So I really don't know. I don't know. I think Nintendo just is gonna be that company that doesn't please anyone. Like, people are gonna continue to be halfway happy with what Nintendo does because they've been around so long and so much people have fond feelings for them and shit. But let's continue.
Tired of being treated like we don't care, like you don't care what we say. We don't. Yes, it's cool that you want to sell figures to the mainstream to make revenue, but don't ignore the fandom that made you who you are, which is exactly what Nintendo is doing right fucking now. They're ignoring you and me, the gamers.
How?
They're listening. Oh, you want Amiibos? Here, have a figure. It's fucking preposterously
I don't
stupid,
get it.
and it pisses me the fuck off. Okay?
So Nintendo, in order to make the Nintendo fan happy, have to stop selling Amiibos, the thing that only Nintendo fans are gonna buy. Huh? If I don't know what Mario is, why the fuck would I buy a Mario Amiibo? This is yet again, it's like he really just speaking for himself, because I don't understand this popular opinion that he thinks exists, but I don't know anything about this popular opinion at all. I don't know of a person that's not a Nintendo fan that would want a fucking tiny ass statue of Mario. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something.
Alright. That is it.
I'm glad this
my
is over with.
Nintendo recap and reactions to their press conference. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you will watch the other E3 coverage that I have done and will be doing. Thank you, and